And we have 78,351. I want to identify what digit is in the hundreds place. So if I'm not sure, I'm going to put my HTO above to figure out which one is the hundreds place. Now not hundred thousands, but hundreds. So I see H, so my digit in my hundreds place is 3. Now if I'm using the shortcut, I see, okay, here's my 3, move to the right, and I'm circling that number because that's really my rounding number. So I'm really looking at the 5 tens or 51, however you want to think about it. But is 5 a red or a green number? Well, 5 I know is green, so that means go up. So really, it's going to go up to 400. So, but remember, I have to put my 78 back on. Even though that doesn't matter, when I'm rounding, I'm really looking at the 351. Is 351 closer to 300 or 400? I still have to put that 78,000 part back on. So if I were doing my number line, I know that my ends are going to be 78,300 and 78,400. Because really, remember, you're looking at that 351. Okay, we're going to pretend the 78 isn't there for the moment. So 310, 320, 330, 340. Once I get to 40, I stop my red and I start my green. 350, 360, 370, 380, 390. Now remember, we're not worrying about that 7/8 part right now. We're just worrying about the stuff that's in the hundreds place. So I have to figure out, where would the 351 go? Well, I see 350, so I'm gonna say it's probably about there. It's in my green, which means go. And to 400, but we have to put the 78 back on, so it's 78,400, which is what we got when we did the shortcut as well. Okay, number 2 says, what digit should go in the box, should go on the line to make the statement true? We have 4,914 is greater than 4,900 something 4. Okay, so we see that this number is being eaten. It's the bigger number. So this has to be greater. So really, I'm looking at my tens place, because that's where my missing part is, because the 4 is the same. 4, 4, 9, 9. So 4,000, 4,000, 900, 900. I'm really worrying about now the tens place, since everything else is the same. So I know that this 10, this 1 is the 10, has to be bigger than whatever's over here. So the only thing that 10 is bigger than is 0. So 0 is the number that should go on the line. 4,000, 4,000, 900, 900, 10, 0. 10 is greater than 0, so we are good to go. Okay, number 3 is worded incorrectly. It should say, if I had $1 when I went to the store, the money is what I owe the cashier. That's what it costs. How much change should I get back? So I'm going to be giving the cashier this to pay this amount. How much money will the cashier give me in return? So first I want to figure out, how much money does the item cost? So this is what it costs. So I need to figure out how much money is there. So remember, we start with our biggest value, which is a quarter. And how many quarters do I have? Well, I know quarter, quarter, big and bold. So I have 1, 2, 3 quarters. 3 quarters, if I'm not sure what that is, I'm going to come off to the side and do 25 plus 25 to give me 50, but that's only 2, so I need to go again. 25 and 50 is 75 cents. Once I use it, cross it off so that I don't use it again. Next biggest value is a dime. And dime, dime, little and thin. I remember you're worth 10. I have 1, 2 dimes. So 2 dimes, 10 cents each is 20 cents. Do I have any nickels? Nickel, nickel, thick and fat. You're worth 5. I know that. I don't have any of those. So I'm gonna go to my penny. My penny, I have 1, so that's 1 cent. So let's figure out the total amount that the item costs. 501 is 6, 7 and 2 is 9. So I know that whatever it was that I bought, maybe a pack of gum, whatever, it costs 96 cents. So I have $1. I owe 96 cents, and I want to know what's my change. So, if you remember, there are 2 ways that we can do this. We can either add up or we can subtract back. If we add up, we're trying to get to the nearest 10. So what's the nearest 10 to 96 if I'm adding up? Well, the nearest 10 would be 100. So how much to get from 96 to 100 pennies? So that's 4 cents. And 100 pennies is the same as $1. So 4 cents if I add up. Now we can also subtract back. So $1 and no change. Take away the 96 cents that I paid with. How much money do I have left? Okay, my bigger number is on the floor. So I go next door to get 10 more. But no one's home next door, so I have to go down the street. I'm going to trade my $1 in for 10 dimes, for 10 tens. That does not help me do 0, take away 6. But however, my neighbor is home, so I'm going to go next door now and borrow one of those dimes and trade it in for 10 pennies. I can do not 10, take away 6 is 4. Numbers the same, zeros the game. And we get the same answer. 4 cents, 4 cents. So the answer is 4 cents. You either write it like this, meaning $0, 0 dimes, 4 pennies, or you write it like that. Either answer is correct. Okay, and last question, UPSC. Nick spent $246 on new clothes for school. He then spent $135 on new shoes. If he had $500 to shop with, how much money does he have left? So we're going to go sentence by sentence. What do we understand? Well, one thing we know is that first sentence, Nick spent $246 on clothes. Second sentence, he then spent $135 on new shoes. Okay, I don't really care what he's spending it on. I just need to know that he spent it, which means he's paying the cashier, which means he's losing the money. Third sentence, if he had $500 to shop with. Okay, there's my comma. I'm going to stop at my comma and write down what's important in the first part. And then the last part of the sentence, how much money does he have left? The question is always, always, always important. So I want to know how much left. Okay, So now I need to come up with a plan. I know he has 500, he spent 246, and he spent 135. I want to know how much is left. Now there are two different ways that you can do this. It depends on what you like doing. If you like adding, you're going to be able to add in this question. If you like subtracting, you can subtract in this question. Okay, so I'm going to show you kind of the part whole diagram to show how it would look. So I know that in all, he has $500. I know that he's putting $246 towards clothes, and he's putting $135 towards shoes. I want to know what is left for him to continue shopping with. So there are two ways I can do this. I could do 500, take away 246, and then take away 135. But I like to add. So I'm going to figure out how much has he spent in all. So I want to know how much money in all is gone. So I'm going to add the 246 plus 135, because that's going to tell me in all how much money has Nick spent. Okay, here's a little hint. If you have the same label, spent and spent, you can always add those together. If you have gave and gave, you can add those together. If you had collected and collected, you could add those together. If you're doing the same thing, you can add them together. So I'm going to figure out what is this red piece first. How much money has he spent? Then I can figure out what is left over. So I'm going to do then 500 take away whatever is here, and that will help me figure out how much is left. So 500 take away this red part. That's the answer to number 1. This is step 1. Okay, so 500 take away step 1 is going to give me the piece that's left. All right, so here we go. Number 1, 246 plus 135 to figure out how much money has he spent so far. So 6 and 5 is 11, 1 and 3 is 4, plus 4 more gives me a double is 8. 2 and 1 is 3. Now I'm going to check it to make sure I didn't make a mistake in step 1, because if I make a mistake in step 1, then I will definitely be getting step 2 wrong. So we go from the bottom, our answer, take away the middle number, hopefully we'll get 246. Bigger number on the bottom, go next door to borrow 10 more. 11 minus 5 is 6. 7 is the bigger number, more on top, no need to stop. 7 take away 3 is 4. Bigger number on top, more on top, no need to stop. And I get 246, which is what I started with over here, so we're good. Now we can do step 2. Remember, your plan is for the solve box. The check is just to make sure you did it correctly. So I'm going to do 500. So my red box, how much he's spent so far is 381. Now I'm going to take away that from 500 to see how much money does he have left. Okay. Subtraction, bigger number on the floor, go next door, borrow 10 more. Nobody's home next door, so I'm gonna go down the street. I'm gonna take one of those hundreds. I do not trade that 100 in for ones. I trade it in for tens. That does not help me with 0 take away 1. So I need to, now I can go next door. Take one of those tens, trade it in for 10 ones. 10 minus 1 is 9. Bigger number on top, no need to stop. 9 minus 8 is 1. Bigger number on top, no need to stop. 4 minus 3 is 1. So my final answer to my final step is $119. I'm going to